welcome to A Filthy Talk, A Filthy Lots weekly live panel discussion show. We're coming to you live from North Vancouver on the traditional lands of the Squamish Nation. We'd like to recognize the privilege to work, play, and create on these beautiful lands. And we encourage you at home to comment in the chat, either on Twitch if you're live with us right now, or on YouTube after the fact with what traditional lands you're watching from. If you don't know, look it up, learn some stuff. And we have already had a rewind redemption.
Rewind.
Correct, Ryan?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Hey, how's it going? You ready to get filthy? I'm ready to get filthy. I'm Trevor Gemma. This is Roz Young. This is A Filthy Talk. All right. There we go. I think I did it.
Nailed it. Nailed it. It's great.
But it is true. I'm Trevor Gemma. This is Roz Young, returning as fact checker, chat liaison, and Twitch moderator,
Woo-woo.
Ryan Whyte, with a fancy new haircut.
Fancy, snazzy haircut.
Oh man, it looks so good. Wow. For those who don't know at home, Ryan had to rock. He just had to let it go. He just had to let his hair go for quite a while for our show Ready to Roll. He was playing a pixie, and Hair and Makeup wanted to do stuff with his crazy hair. He was endlessly upset about it, and he was wearing a toque most of the time.
Ryan's gifted with what is potentially the thickest head of hair of all time.
Oh yeah. So how does it feel, Ryan?
It feels so much better.
Yeah?
It feels really good. I feel like myself again. Which
Oh, good.
Is, yeah.
Can you notice, since we've gotten to warmer weathers, can you notice a difference in temperature?
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
don't have to wear like a hat every day in my life anymore.
Yeah.
It got so bad, like it was to a point where like, because it didn't look good. Like I'm not supposed to have long hair. Some people can have long hair. I'm not supposed to have long hair. And like I wore a hat at home, like just for my girlfriend's sake, because like I didn't want her to have to look at me, you know.
You know, though, sometimes going full like medieval Viking is just, it's a great look for some people.
And some people absolutely can pull that off. I am not one of those people.
Yeah.
I am a coiffured city boy.
Well, you look great coiffed.
Thanks.
Okay, first things first, nerd news, as we'd like to do here. Anything in nerd news you want to talk about, Roz?
Speaking of people who all have long hair, Lord of the Rings news. So I don't know if Bev is watching, but I am about to make her day. There is an anime Lord of the Rings movie planned.
Anime?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And it is called War of the Rohirrim.
Oh.
Yes, so exciting for Warner Brothers and New Line. The untold story behind the fortress of Helm's Deep, about the 9th king of Rohan, named Helm Hammerhand.
Okay.
Feature-length animated movie. They're starting to talk about it, share stuff now. Very exciting.
Now, it's been a long time from reading. Have you read, like, extended Tolkien outside of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? Mm-hmm. Did they ever tell that story, or is this someone taking license?
I think that this character does show up in some of that material because it talks about where does the name Hammerhand come from. Not because he had a hammer, but because he punched someone so hard he died.
Whoa.
This is
That's
a cool
impressive.
dude.
That's a punch.
So yeah, we're going to learn about Helm's Deep in this movie.
Sweet. I've got one to talk about, which I've talked about a couple of times on this show, but the time is nigh, and starting in 2 days, on Saturday, is E3. They're doing their E3 conference or convention, but again, all digitally. Starting on Saturday, we're going to see presentations from Ubisoft and Gearbox. Sunday, we've got Xbox and Bethesda for like 2 hours, and they've made a big deal out of like a lot of announcements coming. Then Square Enix and Warner Brothers is talking about Back 4 Blood, so maybe we'll find out why they pushed to October. And I'm so upset about that. Monday, there's a spotlight on indie games, and there's something from Capcom and Razer, so we'll see like a bunch of new gear from Razer.
Ooh, Capcom.
Tuesday's Nintendo, Bandai/Namco, and there's an award show to finish it all off. So I'm excited for a lot of gaming news.
So that might be nerd news all next week.
No, I mean, nothing official yet, but me and Alex were kind of like, should we do like an impromptu sort of not filthy talk broadcast just to like kind of talk about gaming updates? So maybe we will.
Okay, very exciting.
Maybe we will.
Speaking of things to talk about on Filthy Talk, last week we talked about Critical Role. Now there's Critical Role news this week.
Oh.
They've announced what their third campaign is going to start up this month. Matt Mercer will not be the DM. What?
Oh.
He's been DMing for years for them. Very exciting though. If you follow D&D stuff online, you can learn all about it. But Abrea will be the DM, and
Who?
it's very exciting. Brea.
Is she one of the players?
She has not. Well, she guested with them maybe.
Oh, okay.
But she's active in the D&D community, and she's going to be fantastic. She might be the person who knows as much about Exandria as Matt Mercer does, which is super exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty cool.
Matt Mercer gets to be a player.
That's fun.
That's going to be so amazing. I mean, what a treat and experience for him. So very exciting. It's not the same cast. It's going to be a different experience a little bit, but same world. And I am so excited.
Last thing I want to talk about, and kind of what the inspiration for this episode was about, is, I mean, I got this in the mail, which
Marvel
might be a little
mailed
small.
that to you?
What?
Marvel mailed that to you?
Well, it's, I think it got mailed to a lot of people. I mean, maybe it didn't, and then I need to follow up, but
Did anybody else get one?
Wait! What?
What day is it?
June
Thursday?
10th, 2021.
Great Scott!
Okay. But yes, I got this in the mailbox. And it's got Loki on the front end here, and then on the back, there's the Time Variance Authority now recruiting in Canada. There's a Canadian division, which is nice. And basically, they're looking for recruits to work in the Time Variance Authority if you believe in yourself, if you were born with glorious purpose, if you have skills in manipulation, and if you've recently traveled through time.
What if you're 2 out of 4? Can I apply?
I'm all for.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you're shooting.
I mean, it says, do you answer yes to any of the questions?
Oh, well then.
So even if it's just one, you're good.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I have
I
glorious
mean, you can
purpose.
apply. Then you got to go through the whole application interview process. It's a whole thing. It's a whole
well,
thing.
my interview pretty
So, Loki. Loki premiered yesterday. They're doing it on Wednesday. I watched the first one. Did you watch the first one?
Nope.
Okay. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I don't want to watch them until there's a bunch because I often harshly judge episode 1, and then I might not tune in again. I need a bunch so I can just roll right in.
Yeah, that's fair. So I'm not going to give away any like really spoilery stuff, but Loki is dealing with the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and I've already picked out a paradox in the very first episode that made me go, wait a minute. But to get further into all that wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff, we have, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry, O'Brien, punctuating with sound. He's our sound guy. We're going to bring a couple guests out onto the stage, starting with the person who coined Jedi thirst.
Nope, thirsty for Jedi.
Thirsty for Jedi. On this very show, and the circulatory system to AFL, Lauren Beason. Thank you for coming back.
Soft shoe.
I like
These are
it.
my little dance moves.
I
I,
like
don't
that
have a
you're-
lot of them, but what I do have, I will do.
I like
I
that you've
love it.
made a meal out of coming out here. Some people
Thank
just
you.
come out and it's awkward.
Thank you.
The
I'm
fact that we do
milking
this
this.
without an audience is a little weird.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that it's weird. And you know him, you love him, and if you don't, you're wrong. It's Alain Williams. Oh, I forgot to say his words, not mine.
Not my words.
Ryan.
I have one belated piece of nerd news that I just wanted to,
Oh,
to
sure.
jam in there before things progress.
Jam it in there.
Just wanted to shout out local Vancouver-based games developer Eggnut for releasing their game Backbone.
Oh, right.
Which is a anthropomorphic animals post-noir detective story that is set in Vancouver.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, the game is it's getting some mixed reviews, so like maybe it's not as hypey as I thought it was. But it's a game made by people in Vancouver about Vancouver, and the protagonist is a raccoon. So I mean, I gotta
I'm
shout
gonna
him
play
out.
it.
I'm gonna put a link in the chat. It still looks pretty cool.
Even Alex's review that if I wanted to drink wine and be sad on Granville Street, I could just do that. I'm still in.
Yeah, that's fair. I just like things about Vancouver. Like Vancouver plays every other city in the world, and would never play ourselves. So, yeah, Vancouver. So, welcome, guys. And have you watched Loki? Yes.
I have.
And have you watched the first episode?
I have
Loki?
not.
Okay. Well,
And I
then
know.
I'm gonna keep this spoiler free, except for the first episode is basically world building.
Sick.
And
I'm kind of okay with spoilers. It's a time travel show.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially, it's just a matter of like they started an Endgame messing around with time, and now this show is a result of that. But I picked out a paradox where I was like, wait a minute, you're trying to make this an expository line that like writes it off, and why is this a thing? But Endgame, when they're going through time to gather the Infinity Stones and stuff, and then they flub the one with the Tesseract, and then Loki picks it up and gets away. So it starts with, it shows that scene again, and then it gets into all the other stuff. But when they set up what the premise of like this whole series is going to be, is that there's one sacred sort of timeline, and that the TVA deals with anything that creates a nexus point that is a variant timeline.
Okay. And
their job is to constantly try and control that. But when he's like on trial, he says, you want to go after the Avengers. They're the ones who are screwing with time. And they're like, no, they were doing what they were supposed to do, and you're the variants. And I'm like, wait a minute. He only grabbed the thing because they were screwing around. And if he didn't grab the thing, they would have just gone back with the Tesseract. But they then had to pivot and deal with the Tesseract disappearing and go back to a different point in time.
So you're saying if that is the sacred timeline, then he should have done that all along.
Then he should have done it all along.
Yeah.
Because it screws with the sacred timeline, what they were doing, because when they go back in time, both, I was going to say, I can only think of Robert Downey, fucking Tony Stark and Captain America, they go further back in time. It allows, this is going to be spoilery for Endgame, which if you haven't seen it, too bad.
It's been out for a while,
Way
right?
too bad.
Yeah, too bad.
I'm not even a Marvel fan, and I've seen it.
Yeah. So when they go back,
That makes me cry. Ever.
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 The only thing you've ever cried at is Endgame?
What part in Endgame?
Oh, the Avengers Assemble scene. It's the only thing.
at the very, really?
Wait, it takes like 15 minutes of like 300
everyone
people?
thinks it's like, oh, it's because Stark. I'm like, no, he has to. Like, he's fulfilling his purpose in the story, and that's fine. But when they all get together, I'm like, oh, he has friends. Because it's like the point of Captain America is like he's just the soldier who doesn't quit, and he refused to quit even though he's like, oh, I'm gonna lose. My shield is like shattered.
Yeah.
And it's like you're like, oh, well, this.
Are you telling me that Elendar is Captain America?
Oh, hell no. Elendar thinks he's Batman.
Full of quit.
And he's just a Batman fan.
Okay.
Okay, I want to finish this thought quickly
Sorry.
so we can get into other stuff. But the scene where they have to go back further in time because they know where the Tesseract is at a different point in time allows Steve Rogers to see Peggy Carter.
Right.
And that starts his end of the story, I'm going to stay there when I return the stone thing.
Yeah.
And it also allows Tony Stark to talk to his dad. And they both end up, they start their closure, their like character arc closures because they went further back.
Yes.
And
So-
time travel is very important so we can have 2 Captain America butts.
Right.
Sure.
It's really reminding me how long it's been since I've seen this movie.
But this, I think the deeper implication is that if it wasn't for Loki taking the Tesseract, and they were supposed to get it there, if that's what the Avengers were supposed to do, then that's the sacred timeline.
Right.
The
So
problem
now,
with time travel is that it's kind of dumb.
but sure.
it's supposed
as
to
soon
be.
as you start screwing with it, you're coming up against paradoxes.
Loki has brings up a lot of points about free will, and like on a very deep level, it's like I don't like this because I really find like the idea of not having free will very upsetting.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, like I very much personally believe it's like you can do like you're stuck within the bounds of your life of like your class of society, when you're born, where you're born, all those things. But within that, you can choose your own destiny to a point. And the idea that everything's preordained out for you, that there's no escaping a cycle that's already been decided, I hate that.
So I think that's interesting. I don't want to spin too hard into time, into this, but that's what kind of we're here
that's
for.
what we're talking about.
No, let's
time
just
travel.
spin.
That is the one thing I will allow to take free will or the illusion of free will from me is reality. Like, I won't accept it from people because they know as much as I do, and I'm fucking stupid. So, but we don't understand how the universe works.
Yeah, we don't.
So if we discover that free will is indeed truly like a lie, or there's like a multiverse and it's like you chose this path, ergo you could have chosen this path, ergo like free will exercises itself that way. Either way, I'm okay with that because it is truly beyond my control. And trying to hang on to things that you don't have control over leads to stress, and that runs in my family, so I don't.
Stress runs in your family?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty universal.
I mean, but like, we do it right.
So do you feel like you finished your point about? I feel like before we get away from Loki too much, and because we're going to dive all into.
I'll finish it really quickly. It's that if Tony Stark didn't go back and have that closure with his dad, and if Steve Irwin goes back in time and wrestles a crocodile.
Time travel saves Steve Irwin.
Steve Rogers less so, but I mean that's a whole different. It would create two different things. But if Tony Stark didn't, then he might not have done the thing he did at the end to sacrifice himself for everybody, which means that. In that other time, I mean, Doctor Strange looked through time and saw like whatever that was, like 3 million something timelines, and they only win in one. Then the sacred one might be actually where Thanos wins, because if Loki leaving with the Tesseract creates an offshoot, maybe we saw that offshoot. Right. Maybe we saw Tony Stark sacrifice himself and they beat Thanos, but that's the offshoot.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
So I guess like if those two did what they had to do, it was facilitated by Loki taking the Tesseract. Yeah. Therefore, we can't judge him because he did what he had to do in order for them to do what they had to do.
But this show is based on them saying that he's the variant. So him taking the Tesseract is wrong.
So I'm gonna say that like that's fine for episode 1. If they don't talk about it again by episode 6 or 10 or whatever it is, like we were doing what we had to in order to get you to do what you had to because you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, perhaps the intervention was required.
Right.
To get
I have a question. Do you prefer a time travel story to be convoluted and like complicated where it's like, oh my god, there's so many layers to this, so like they bring that up and then they have to address it because in actuality, like if I was right about the beating Thanos timeline is actually not the sacred timeline, like do you want it to be more complicated or do you prefer something that's more tongue-in-cheek or just really simplified, like Back to the Future?
So like you're asking like Back to the Future or Doctor Who type shit. Like
like Interstellar.
I am like, I don't want to raise the ire of like geekdom and fandom, but
that's what we're here to do. I think you should just get out there, man.
Do it.
I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan.
Well, you should leave.
Me neither.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but here's the thing: is like I don't hate on Doctor Who. I actually like what Doctor Who does with its exploration of time. It's a device that they say, we don't understand it, therefore you don't have to. We're just going to do what we want to tell the story that we have to.
It's fun and games.
Super sharp. Like I love that. It's just like as a show in and of itself, it never like hooked me, and I was like, that's fine too. Like that's for other folks and shit.
Yeah, it's a unique thing. Not for everybody. We'll have a future episode where we talk about Doctor Who.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but I'm definitely a Red Dwarf fan, and they do a lot of time travel in that.
That's fair.
And that's just, that's like stupid simple, and I just love it. And so I think stupid simple is
prefer the stupid simple?
Yeah.
I like elegant. I like if a story loops back, is very complicated, but in the end, it's actually simple. That if you were to pull both strings, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
If they start from a place of science, you know, and then they start to change it to make it more fun as a story. But if they have a basis of science, I think that that's great.
Or that everything they've done is logically consistent with their own internal logic.
Exactly.
So if they
Yeah.
take science and then they do something kind of stupid, but whatever, but it all makes sense within the world that they've established so that it works out in the end. Like, I think Bill and Ted's first movie has some excellent examples of the use of time travel.
And the second one was bogus.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was
No, but it was. Yeah.
Ryan, did you have?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was gonna tell you a time travel joke, but you didn't like it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Rewind. Also, just a quick note for everyone at home. Today, possibly just an exclusive one for our time travel chat. There is a point redemption. It already happened once, or did it? It's called Rewind, where you can get anyone on the panel to rephrase or take a different stance on something you just said. Anyway.
Okay,
Yeah.
when we started saying we were going to talk about time travel today, Lauren
Yes.
and I got super excited because, we could nerd out about the physics of is time travel even really possible?
See, can you
Because
even...
we're talking about all these fictional examples because fiction is great. You just make
Sure.
up whatever you want.
But I
you know?
mean...
Meh. But what
okay.
about for real?
Right.
I mean, going
that's
forward,
where
so
that's
easy.
where I'm lost because like I need scientists who are eloquent in both like the study and in English to communicate like those concepts to me.
Like a science
I need
educator.
I need the Carl Sagans and the Tysons in order to go like both Neil deGrasse and Mike to explain physics.
Mike knows some shit.
Mike knows. It's like it is a scientific law that everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah. I just pumped him into another timeline.
I would really like to see him explain the special and general theories of relativity. I think that I would learn a lot.
Man.
Right, but like that's the thing is like the minute you can turn it into prose or poetry or like visual aids, like you couldn't with your damnedest efforts explain like extra dimensional concepts to me until someone is like, okay, like
Here's a movie.
yeah, right. Like here's like every film that takes a piece of paper and folds it in half and punches a hole in it. It's like, this is space, dude. I'm like,
It's so
okay,
easy.
got it, right. Where like that shit actually helps me.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
learning aids make sense. But okay,
Yeah.
so from a scientific standpoint, do you think time travel is possible?
On the scale of a human being, well, science is fun, and everyone is a time traveler because we move through time. Time advances, and we.
It's a pretty
But
lame
we're
version
forever
of
stuck in
travel.
the present.
I'm just saying,
I
We're
travel, I
creatures stuck
drive
in the
from home
present.
to
We
work.
can't go back
But-
and we can't go forward.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Also,
only
are
constantly
you
in a state of transition.
and are you not literally a time traveler because in your car you move faster than we are sitting here right now, and so you're technically closer to the speed of light than we are right now. And when you approach those extremely high speeds, time runs more slowly.
Have they
I'm
proven
just-
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That high speeds, time moves slower.
Yes.
Yeah.
How
Satellites-
the speed of light you get, the slower time goes, relative to an observer who is stationary.
Yes.
So if
What?
I'm traveling to Alpha Centauri at 0.5 c, c being the indicator of the speed of light, my relative speed of travel through time is like I don't know this math at all, but it's say 10 times faster. So like, in my experience, it's 5 years, but in the people's experience back home, it's 50.
Right? So Ryan returns to Earth and becomes a part of our same frame of reference of time,
Yeah.
and to us,
I've
he's
aged 10
young.
years
Yes.
and y'all dead.
So,
So it's almost like he time traveled.
To what extent have they proven this, though?
Satellites move at a different speed as we do on Earth.
She's got it.
But like how much?
Not a lot,
Measurable.
but a little bit.
Measurable.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
measure that the clocks on the satellite move at a different rate of time than clocks on Earth.
So
Okay.
our cell phones move through satellites, so they have to have a program to correct for that.
And they've been able to see that, like, the faster a satellite is moving relative to like a stationary observer, the more the time dilation effect is observed. So like we don't have conclusive proof that it linearly scales because nothing
Yeah.
we've ever created has
No, we
traveled
haven't.
at anything more than like 0.01% the speed of light, but there's nothing to suggest that it wouldn't scale that way.
And we're talking about traveling at, speeds approaching the speed of light for it to be noticeable, which is
Relativistic speeds.
not really possible.
Yeah.
By
That we
us
know of.
right now.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But then, and today Jason was playing with that towel experiment to show
Yeah.
that time is also influenced by gravity, or proximity to density and mass.
Mass and yeah.
Yeah. So we're playing with those ideas today, but those are theories that Einstein did. So that's a long time ago. We've been using experiments to test those things out. But the simplest versions are take some time measuring devices into space around the planet, and we can measure that they are different.
Sure.
Yeah, you bring them back, they're different.
I mean,
I
time is a
watched-
construct by humans based on like our evolutions around revolutions around the sun and the revolving of the Earth.
But we
So-
can measure it.
Yeah. Well, time's a flat circle. We're always in the present. And, if time is oh God, it's so theoretical. Time is constant. You're always in this moment, and you're always in the future, and you're always in the past. You're every moment forever. You're always in the morning brushing your teeth. You're always sitting on your toilet. You're always right here.
You just can't perceive all of it at once, so you perceive it in
Exactly.
slices of time.
I mean, that's what I loved about Westworld so much, was like telling a non-linear story without telling the audience it was non-linear, and then revealing that to the robot they're living it non-linearly, that they're living all time at once. But then they're also subject to like the linear time. Like
They experience decay because everything does, right?
Yeah, but they just experience memory as if it's now.
Right. It's the Dr.
Yeah.
Manhattan thing, right? Of like he experiences all states at once.
Yeah.
And they have a really like interesting way to depict that in the comic book when he says like it's 1954, I am in a lab, or it's 1955, I'm at a carnival. And like the way he phrases that is important because he is. It's not
Everywhere.
him thinking back on it.
Yeah, yeah.
He is there all the time, right?
That was actually, I mean, I'm taking this back to Marvel for a second, but that was something that I was disappointed with the Infinity War, that they did all 6 stones, all in one movie. That Thanos got them all.
Not
but, like,
infinite at all, Marvel.
It's the finite stones.
Definite.
It's that in the comics, when he gets the god power, when he has them all, the way he explains, like he just gets them and then immediately snaps, and then he doesn't really use them anymore.
Right.
But in the comics, it gets into the fact that he's talking about like, now that I have the time stone, I'm existing throughout time simultaneously.
Right.
When he gets the soul stone, he's connected to every living being that has a soul throughout time at once.
And he
Like,
still stays on mission.
he does. He
Yeah.
still snaps out half of everything.
Why doesn't he just, if he has all this power, why doesn't he just create twice as much stuff?
Well, totally.
It's because he's a bad guy.
Before we
thing
get
that they
too
left
far into
out-
Thanos, I think there was something going on in chat.
Oh,
Ryan?
was there?
No, I was just gonna say, and then I lost my train of thought, and I'm like at the limit of my knowledge of science here, but like the more we understand about quantum mechanics, the more we understand the centrality of the role of the observer in these kinds of quantum systems, and we're starting to understand that consciousness in some ways that we really don't understand is connected to physics. And I think in a totally unsubstantiated and metaphysical, sense, that time may be something akin to that, and that time is very bound to perception.
To those who are subject to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that,
wouldn't be surprised about that.
outside of perception, time may not exist.
Yeah.
Or if perception is different, time may be different. I think that was one of my honestly favorite recent time travel movies. Was Arrival, which wasn't really a time travel movie.
Yeah, but
that was
boy,
good.
was
But
it
that was
ever.
one
Yeah,
of the
but-
central kind of theses of that film.
They
was
don't
that, like,
experience time
language
linearly.
informs perception, and perception informs your experience of time. And so I think, time travel might just be a function of perceptual shifts.
That's fair. You said a thing that I just need to give you info on Thanos?
Please
quickly.
do. Educate me on Marvel.
No, it's not important. It's that the thing that you pointed out, the biggest easy solution to like, oh, you're just a psychopath who wants to kill. Why not just double the resources?
Yeah.
In the comics, they had a really cool motivation for him. Is that he was trying to court death. He was in love with Lady Death, and the reason he wanted to kill half the population was to prove his love to her. And then he found the easiest way to do it.
He went through all this stuff for
love.
so long just to basically send her a dick pic?
For love. For a skeleton lady's love. Yeah. Which I think is actually more interesting.
I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I will openly admit it.
That's
I will
fair.
watch the things to keep on track on the pop culture, but like, But you know what? Like, cool. All right, sure.
I love the idea that Thanos' motivation in the comic books can be summed up by a limp biscuit song.
Did it all for the nookie. Okay, back on
things we
track
do
to
for
just
love.
straight up time travel. What is everyone's favorite example of time travel in either movies or TV or video games or whatever, novels, wherever?
Ooh. I like a classic Groundhog Day movie with not enjoying actual Groundhog Day. I don't actually enjoy that movie.
Oh.
It's not. I wouldn't recommend you watching it right now.
Wait a minute. You like the Groundhog Day formula as applied to other things, but you don't like Groundhog Day.
Yes, and it's not the concept of Groundhog Day.
No.
It's more how it's executed.
What?
What?
Yeah,
It's
we're all
more.
offended.
It's the character. The character is so irreprehensible. He's like,
What?
it's pretty rapey.
Murray, of course he is.
That's like the part of the that's the point of the film. Is that
Yeah.
he's kind of like a big old asshole when things
His
start.
transition is not convincing to me. Like
Yeah, he has to. He's scrooging it up. He needs
You
to.
know, it might not hold up.
Oh, it
I haven't
does.
watched
See,
it in a
okay,
long
so it's
time.
on Netflix.
I've watched Groundhog Day.
And I'm like, hold on.
I've watched Groundhog Day every Groundhog Day for the last like 20 years, and it holds up. You're not Lauren.
No. I mean, it might hold up from it might hold up for comedy. It might hold up for premise. But I feel like his redemption arc probably doesn't hold up.
Did you watch 1201? It came out the same year. It's more of a
think so.
thriller, but the same concept where he wakes up at the same time every time, and he's trying to save someone who's
haven't even heard of it.
murdered on the day. I don't know that it holds up because I haven't watched it in a
It's called 1201.
1201.
Have you
And it's
guys
a film?
seen what is it called? I wrote it down because I always forget the name of it. Palm Springs.
Yep.
I have not seen it
watched
yet. Is
it
it
yet.
good?
Oh, it's so good.
It's a Groundhog Day idea, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy
Andy Sandberg.
and the girl.
And How I Met Your Mother's Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. the
I'm
mom
really
from
bad
High
with
School.
actor
Terrible
names.
because
fucking
she's
murdered.
She's been in so many things, and I still call her, the mom.
How I Met Your Mother's Mom.
The yellow umbrella when we finally meet her.
And you
Favorite?
think that's better than Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I don't know that you and Ryan
Do
are
you
friends.
like Bill Murray?
It's okay. I like him in some things.
Okay.
I like him in like Lost in Translation. I
Super
like him in
sus.
Ghostbusters.
Whoa.
Space Jam.
Is he in Space Jam?
What?
Yeah, he's in Space Jam.
I haven't watched Space Jam since I was like 8.
Never seen it.
Like, you're gonna watch it, you're not gonna like it, but you're gonna understand why every child did.
I like him in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah. He's great in that.
Maybe we should do an episode about Bill Murray.
Well, this is something that this is a weird old throwback, but I was going to try to call that Bill Murray phone number to see if he would have done the first episode of Filthy Talk.
Right.
Why don't we call it now? Like right now.
No, we'll do
the
it.
pandemic
We'll
hit.
do like a Bill Murray episode and give him a call.
I'd be down with
It's a
that.
deep dive of all Bill Murray movies.
Oh, Bill.
Would have been great. But
Ghost busting ass Bill motherfucking Murray.
what's your favorite?
It's what the
Time travel vehicle.
right.
Not vehicle. That was well, you know what I mean.
The DeLorean.
Literally, it's the
I mean-
H.G. Wells machine.
That's what I'm wearing. This is a time machine.
It's a DeLorean.
I mean, I don't know. I think like it's not my favorite, but it just comes up because it's in my brain because it's the most sciency is Interstellar.
Okay.
It plays with time in the way that like physics understands how to play with time. As a film, you can argue that like Christopher Nolan doesn't give enough of a shit about his characters and depends on the actors way too much, yada yada yada. However, as a film director who's like, I have a gimmick and it's logic based, and it's like he leans into that pretty hard. And whatever you feel about each of his films, I think for that one he kind of hit every note in the right way for me. And I really like what they do with time because it's not boundless. You can't go back. He made, like, the characters in that film make choices that expend time that they can't get back.
I mean, don't we all? Every day.
Yeah, and that's the vibe. Right?
That's what you liked about it. Okay.
Yeah.
sense.
Also, what's the one
crushing
where,
sadness? My favorite part.
Do you know that the executive producer, he's actual like mathematician, and he did equations?
Kip
for it.
Thorne.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. That blows my mind when like shows actually do the math. Literally.
Is it that
Literally?
impressive?
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory did the math, and
Did you not like Big Bang?
no.
Oh.
Okay.
They're laughing
Do
at
people
nerds,
like the Big Bang Theory?
not with
Do you
them.
not like the Big Bang Theory?
Is it like? Are people capable of liking that show?
Wow.
It's the highest.
Big Bang Theory,
highest-
it's like
the
exactly,
worst show of all
exactly.
time?
It's the highest paid syndicated show on TV right
There
now.
are elements
and
about that
maybe
show that
of
are
all
good,
time.
but see, I know when people like it.
Garbage.
They're laughing
enjoyed
at
it.
them, not with them. And I don't, as a
watch
scientist,
clip on YouTube.
not a fan.
Watch a clip on YouTube of the Big Bang Theory with the laugh track removed, and tell me if you still think it's a good
Right.
That's fair. I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
What is?
you were gonna
Sorry. We were talking about Interstellar. You talked about Kip Thorne.
It was before that. You were like, what was the movie? You were going to say something.
No, I'll jump there after. I want to put a button on this.
All right.
My friend, and actually a friend of the channel, Abdul Aziz.
Hi, Abdul.
He's a big science nerd also. He quit being a scientist to become a comedian.
Really?
You fucking idiot.
Really?
Anyway.
It doesn't show.
What is that saying?
But no,
Are you
he-
saying we're not funny?
No, I'm saying he would appreciate me just riffing on him there real
Yeah,
quick.
he met Kip Thorne at like a science convention once, and he just casually asked him, "What are you like working on now?" He's like, "Oh, I'm applying some of my theories about black holes for like a film or something."
Oh, wow, and it was oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, damn, he went hard on that one, huh?" So yeah, I'm a fan of that film and its use of the science of time. I was gonna ask, what is the film where Third Rock from the Sun played Bruce Willis?
Looper.
Yeah.
You call him Third Rock from the Sun? Joseph Gordon-Levitt, for those who don't know.
I try to keep him on the floor.
say John
Lithgow?
He's
John
too handsome.
Lithgow.
He's riding like high in the sky.
You're talking about French
trouble
Stewart?
JGL.
There's a French Stewart time travel movie? We're going through time.
I don't know why I have a French Stewart impression. Oh, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, that's about it. It nailed it.
You know, in preparation for this, I was like reminding myself about all about movies, and there are so many movies that have time travel in them. Just movies that you're like, you know, like Kate and Leopold. Not saying it's good, but I am saying it has time travel in it. You know, The Butterfly Effect, Safety Not Guaranteed, Primer, Back to the Future, Bill and
Great film.
Ted.
Butterfly Effect I liked because it was
12
like
Monkeys.
It was that kind of 12 Monkeys was cool as hell.
Yeah.
But I like the weird like
Evil Dead.
twisty kind of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Evil Dead,
Yes,
no.
Army of
Army of Darkness
yeah.
is a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Although I actually thought about that last night, and I was going to ask you guys: do you think Army of Darkness is a time travel movie or a jumping through dimensions movie? Because
travel.
You think it's time travel?
It depends on the ending that you watch, I think, right?
That's another interesting point.
I don't think that's an interdimensional film. I think it's meant to be a time travel.
Yeah?
Because like that's another point.
He
If we go
just
back to
didn't know
science stuff,
what
though, too,
history.
right?
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Are we talking about time as a linear, or are we talking about the multiple realities?
I mean, we're talking about whatever we want to talk
We're
about.
making it up.
There's so many
Right.
options.
The minute you look at
That's what's
time
wonderful.
from the fourth dimension or fifth dimension or higher dimensional perspective as an object, it becomes that.
Yeah.
What?
But you know the movie that surprised me the most, and I realized, movie I did not really think of as a time travel movie
Teenage Mutant
is...
Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh yeah, Turtles.
No, that
It's
is
literally called Turtles Through Time.
no, that's the game.
The movie is A Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Is
that,
it time travel or is it just?
he gets a chance to go to the future. It doesn't mean that
Is he
he's
seeing a real?
physically there.
He's not seeing a real
Past,
future.
present,
He's seeing a
future.
fake future.
He does get to go into the future, and he does get to
No,
change
no.
his circumstance.
Oh,
Is
now
it-
that's
is it a real future
Okay.
or is it a lie?
no, but that's
The point is, he does get to travel to see. He can't interact with it, but he does get to see.
he
past,
sees
gets
a
to
real
future.
past and a real present. Why would it not be a real future?
Good question. Because that's maybe what forces him to change the most. Is a fake future,
Is seeing his own death?
but in a reality sculpted to look the way that causes him to
So
change.
you think the spirits
Well played,
conspired
spirits.
that they were like, we're gonna fuck with Scrooge?
They showed up to fuck with him intentionally. Why wouldn't they do it all
I
the
love-
way?
I mean,
all
it's kind
in.
of weird that
All
they care
in.
so much
love
about
the
his
idea
soul.
of like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, just focusing on the ghosts hanging out. Like, man, this dude's tripping. We gotta fix his ass, and then just like thinking up how.
Yeah,
Yeah, he actually has a
Team dog
delightful death in the
scenario, you know,
future.
of, like,
He
just
pays
gods
for
just
everything he
fucking
needs.
with
So
things.
instead, they're like, nope. They steal his curtains. It's real gross. No one loves him.
But why
Fake all
would it-
that shit.
Why would the ghosts of future, present, and past fake their
Why are they there at all? He's one guy.
Yeah,
Because he affects so many people in the world, though. He's a
yeah.
rather privileged individual who has power over a lot of people. Him changing allows Tiny Tim to survive, for that family to prosper, for him to improve his relationship with his nephew.
So they have
He's
to
already-
fake the future to make that happen.
Scrooge doesn't give Tiny Tim that turkey. The like hunger and rage he feels causes him to grow up to be even worse than Hitler.
It's a goose.
And Tiny Tim's,
It's a goose.
It's a goose.
and Tiny Tim's what they don't tell you is that Tiny Tim's great grandson, Howard Stark, father of Tony Stark, all right? He's looking out for our future.
right.
Yeah, and he knows that if he doesn't do this, the Avengers are never going to get together,
Yeah.
and Thanos is going to win.
Episode 2.
He has
Episode
to
2.
do it. Has to do it to
Yeah,
him.
the ghosts are actually Loki. Just in 3 different guises.
Yeah. That's what they're going to tell him. They're going to be like, you got to go and do this job for us. And he's like, what? And they're like, here's your shackles.
Ebenezer
Yeah.
who?
This is him
the
like,
Guardian.
oh, I'm a ghost.
What's your favorite?
I
time
made a
travel
huge
vehicle?
list because I like so many things. Obviously, I love Doctor Who. I love the TARDIS.
Who?
Just,
Doctor what?
time and relative
dare you.
dimension in space, and the episode, the Doctor's wife, and the episode where the TARDIS takes form. Oh.
Why is there not 6 different, or not 6 different, it would be what? Who, what, why, and where? Why are there not spin-offs of different doctors?
We should make one.
Dr. Y, Dr. Where, Dr.
also,
what?
there's
Ah,
Dr.
and Dr.
Howe?
Y? Yeah.
Sometimes why?
you guys are adorable. There's time travel in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yeah, okay.
Big fan. Do you want to jump in here before
Yeah, I
I
was
do the
gonna
rest of my
say.
list?
I'm gonna say a thing and then I'm gonna follow up with a question for Lauren.
Ooh.
I still think, honestly, some of the more thoughtful treatments of time travel I've ever seen have been in episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes.
Particularly the episode which Rick and Morty kind of spoofed, where Picard, I don't remember exactly what the mechanic was, but he like touches the probe or something, and he lives the entire
Oh, he
life.
lives an entire life.
as like the farmer
Yeah,
man who plays the flute on
it was
that planet.
It was a different species that like
Yeah.
uploaded their whole existence
Yeah.
into this probe, and then
he's like in the like
learns
turbo
their
lift
history by living
corridor
life.
playing himself the sad flute, like
that was
reminiscing about
really
this
cool.
life that he never lived.
But that wasn't really time
And then Rick and
travel.
Morty just turned it into a video game.
But
Have you
but
guys
also
read
observation.
Calculating God?
They also
What?
did a
Have
Groundhog
any of you guys
Day
read
episode
Calculating God?
before Groundhog Day. They did like a loop episode. They were stuck in a time loop and they had to like relive the same sequence of events
I mean,
that ended with the ship
TNG
blowing
finished on a time travel story with Q.
Yeah.
Where Picard was existing and leaping between
All good things.
3 different. Yeah.
Star Trek. Oh, I shouldn't say this. I know that you and Ash are watching Deep Space
Don't tell
Nine.
him yet.
Then
Let's just talk about the
There
whales.
is a good
whales.
Deep Space
It's
Nine.
my favorite episode
Wait,
of
The
the
Ferengi one?
Yeah, it's
Is
good,
it the,
right?
Is it the
The Ferengi one,
Wait,
right?
are you talking about the one? Are you talking about the movie with Kirk, where they
No,
have to
we're
go back
talking
and save
about
the
Deep
Trouble
whales?
with
Space
Tribbles?
No, a Deep Space
Okay,
Nine.
I've actually seen the Tribbles episode from
Yeah.
like when the show was on.
that's good too.
It's my favorite episode of that.
That's a Klingon? What
particular
happened?
show.
We don't talk about
We
it.
don't talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you
Okay.
go.
I also love a book series called The Air Affair. If you don't read it, you should. She is a literary time traveler, so she goes Thursday. Her name's Thursday Next, and she has to go through time to save books and stories that when people are time traveling and going back in time and messing with that stuff. Really good. We were talking about 12 Monkeys, but I love Time Bandits. Also Terry Gilliam.
Oh, yeah.
Boof. I love Flight of the Navigator. I love Time Cop.
He does the splits on the counter and it electrocutes the guy.
I
I'm
love
not there for the time travel.
I
but
gotta
I
say,
get it.
I
top-level
love
Van
Hot
Damme.
Tub Time Machine. I love Meet the Robinsons.
Say Hot Tub Time Machine?
Hot Tub Time Machine. I love the book, The Time Traveler's Wife, much more than I like the movie.
Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
We were talking about Groundhog Day stories. I love Run Lola Run. Technically, they time travel in Galaxy Quest. Great movie. Donnie Darko. And I'm just gonna put it out there, but best example of time travel of all time is actually Bender's Big Score by Futurama.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
My favorite time travel thing is an old Super Nintendo.
You with the hair. What year is it?
2021.
You're not wearing glasses. It worked. Yes!
It worked, Doc.
Time travelers, man.
That was really good.
Spin beer everywhere.
There was a Super Nintendo game. I'm glad it worked.
You know, just
Thank
before
you.
you guys called us out, Doc
some
had to
other
run up
things I
and
want
turn
you
something
to
off,
fix.
just like in the movie where he had to connect the thing at the last
really?
moment. It was like da da da. Frankly, could he do that to get down here in time? He had to climb a ladder.
Super Nintendo game called Chrono Trigger is my favorite time device.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
really, really good RPG.
It's like the second you said that, I heard the theme song in my
Chrono
head.
Trigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little bell, like I just heard it. I saw the clock,
Yeah.
pendulum ticking.
It was a freaking masterpiece. That
It's a
game was so
masterpiece
good.
of like video gaming, like as a whole, of like the like
JRPG style?
JRPG
Oh, God,
style,
yeah.
specifically like. We can try to do that again, and we won't be able to do what they did.
I'd love to see it done in like the way they've redone Final Fantasy VII, like
I've
modern day
thought
remake.
about that. I keep erring like every time
probably fuck
slightly
it
on
up.
the side of don't,
Yeah.
because when they remade FF7, I was so enamored to be back there, and then they kept making these little changes, and I'm like, I see why they did that. And then they made one change, and I'm like, Tetsuya Nomura, you piece of shit. So
As long as I can't live through another Final Fantasy VIII. I just did not enjoy that.
you didn't like 8?
No. And like the time compression thing, I was just no.
The run of 7, 8, and 9 is maybe my favorite run of that.
Yeah.
What?
Series.
You're skipping 6? 6 is my favorite game of all time.
I'm talking about like a straight run. If I have to include 6, I do, but because it isn't on the PlayStation console, I'm like, that 7, 8, 9 run. 6 is a magnum opus, again, of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
We're not talking about time travel right now.
Although I'm traveling through time in a way and reliving some video game love. And so this makes me.
Wait, but what's your favorite? Are you gonna talk about?
I just said Chrono Trigger.
But you're not gonna talk about Terminator?
Terminator? Terminator's not my favorite. As far as I'm concerned, there are only 2 Terminator movies. It ended at 2.
Ooh.
Period.
Hey,
I
wouldn't
just
it
thought
be great
you
if they
might-
made
I
a
thought you might-
Terminator movie?
1 and Terminator.
sequel to Terminator
Rise
2?
of-
Yeah, that's it. I skipped 2. 2
I
is
also
trash.
really love the time turner in Harry Potter. I think it turned out really
Oh,
good.
boy.
Right.
Oh, no, that opens so many problems. Why don't they use them all the time?
They can't. They can't just trust anybody with it.
Well, but they have them. How do, okay.
How do you know they're not using them more often?
Because they're fucking not. Because we're seeing, they introduced a device that they use once in the third freaking book and movie,
She
and then
uses it
never again.
Look, I don't mind it existing in the lore. I just want J.K. Rowling to use one to go back in time and change her shitty opinion.
Yeah, just stop.
Good
back and
call.
educate
Right before
yourself.
you started being that, just stop.
Ryan.
Take your money and run.
So we have had a series of very poignant questions asked by Anatrocity Exhibition in the chat.
Danny Brown's here? What?
I suppose so.
Okay.
Atrocity
I'm
Exhibition.
not gonna dox them.
Hi, Anatrocity Exhibition. How you doing?
They're all a little bit off topic, but I'm just gonna ask you. There have been like 24, and they're all equally as weird.
Okay.
Would you rather give birth to a Chipotle burrito every 9 months, or hunt, melt, and drink a werewolf every full moon to prevent turning into a wereworm?
How often am I giving
A
birth?
wereworm.
Every 9 months.
Every 9 months. I mean, I feel like when you eat it,
You didn't even have to finish that shit.
We all knew what you were
What
going
you
for.
were doing. I feel like every time you the minute.
how do you melt a werewolf?
So you hunt a milk and you hunt a milk and drink a werewolf.
I think he said hunt and melt.
Melt, yeah.
You said
hunt and
melt.
melt.
Melt a werewolf.
Next.
How you melt a werewolf.
Next.
All right, how about yeah, real.
I just can't stop thinking about the
Would you
consistency,
rather
though.
wake up next to a headless clown, handcuffed to a briefcase of money once a month, or be dangerously attractive to people over 80?
I mean, I'd take the dangerously
clown
attractive.
for sure. you get desensitized to the decapitated corpse, and you get a briefcase of money a month.
Was there a briefcase of money in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Headless
okay,
clown
yeah,
has
briefcase
Yeah,
of
let's
money.
go.
Oh yeah,
Come
I missed
on.
that
Yeah,
part.
I'll take that.
Wait, the alternative is being
That's another good one
Sexy?
here.
Dangerously attractive.
Would you
to
rather have the ability to
80+.
fly, but you have to watch Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, twice a day, or you're the wealthiest person on Earth, but you're only allowed to buy B-movie merchandise?
What? I love that. I'm in. I would buy a ton of B-movie merchandise.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd watch episode 1 to
No,
fly.
That's
I'd
trash.
definitely fly.
If you get to be the richest person on Earth, but you're only allowed, you can't better the world with all that money. You can't. You just have to be the piece
You
of shit.
can't own a home,
Yeah.
right? You can't
You can
own a
build it
car.
out of B-movie paraphernalia.
Or,
I'm okay with-
or you start your own B-movie merchandise company,
Yeah.
and you
That
sell
requires
B-movie
spending
homes,
money on other things.
but you're the richest person.
How do you think they got the richest person in the world?
I don't know, man.
was
These
the
are all
other option there?
hypotheticals. Sorry?
What was the other option there?
Flying, but you have to watch Phantom Menace twice a day.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
yeah,
That's
I'd
like,
do that.
that's like 6 hours a day of Phantom Menace, though.
I don't care. I'll watch that
It's
shit.
not a
like-
3-hour
that's
movie.
it.
It's like 2.5
The rest
tops.
of the day, you get to fly.
It's true.
Yeah, you can
Yeah, that's the
watch
one
it
I
while
go
flying.
for.
But you're
Just bring
really
a portable
poor.
DVD player.
You're really, really poor.
Yeah.
You have no money because you spent all your time watching Phantom Menace.
I'd put it
You
on
can
while I
fly. You
slept.
can just rob people and fly away. You got money.
We are all trash humans. Is there one more that we want to do with these?
No. I want to ask a time travel related question.
Yeah, sure.
I have time travel would you rathers.
That sounds fun, but if you had time travel powers,
Work.
would you use them to alter things about your own life, or would you try to strive for the greater good of the world and history itself?
Good question.
And you can only do one or the other? In that scenario?
No, I mean, you've got it. What would you try and do?
What's your priorities?
Oh God, I'm
Step
so
one.
I think my initial reaction would be quite selfish, to be honest. My initial reaction would be like, I want to go see some shit, so I'm gonna go fuck off and see some shit.
Oh.
And then
so
and
wait,
then
but
I get
self-serving now. Like you
Yes.
wouldn't go back and try to correct things in your own life.
no, I more like I want to go look at some dinosaurs, and I want to go like. I want to go check out some ancient civilizations and go forward. Like, I basically just want to be a tourist, is what it comes down to.
Okay.
I just want to travel. I'm kind of
Pandemic
bored.
has been hard.
That's gonna make me sidetrack because one of my personal theories on time travel being a thing? Because you asked me a question earlier.
Yes, I have questions for you.
Okay, but it was if there's time travelers, why haven't we seen them?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of my personal theories that I thought of when I was like a teenager, and since then I've actually seen it on the internet, so other people have the same thoughts, which is interesting. I think that a lot of UFO sightings that we see, not abductions, but when people like see in the sky, like, oh, I swear, man, I saw like a disc and it was a thing. I think those might be history classes from the future. I think that we might have figured out time travel, and that's literally taking a class of children and being like, this is the year 1952.
If they can travel
Look
through
how
time,
fucked up
they
it
can
is.
hide better than that.
Well, maybe, but I'm going to share a personal story. One of the weirdest things I saw was it was a complete blue sky, and I was 8 or something. And I was lying in a field with a friend, looked up in the sky, and there were 2 completely circular clouds, like discs. And I was like, what the fuck? And they looked like clouds. And we talked for a second, and they were gone. That's it. I didn't see any like weird movement or anything from it, but it looked like a cloud. It could have been goddamn future history. Anyway, just a weird theory. Just a weird theory.
I was reading some papers, and there was a scientist who was talking about how time travel is going to talk about with young people because it gets them excited about physics, much like Lauren and I today, chatting about the equations of special and general relativity. And they said, if time travel is possible, then where are all the time travelers? Number 1 theory, time travel is forbidden by the laws of physics. Number 2, there are no naturally occurring options to cause time travel, and we didn't invent anything, so it just hasn't happened, and it doesn't ever.
So,
They travel back to parallel universes,
word.
right? So we talked about that earlier.
So Livingston said a thing earlier. I can't remember how he set it up, but it's an interesting thing that if we were to invent time travel at that moment, because you were saying this outside, but it made me think of the thing that he said, is that at the moment that we like invent time travel is when you start seeing all the time travelers. I think that we would probably establish some sort of rule where you have to stay hidden. You have to go back in the appropriate garb. You have, I mean, there's stuff online,
Yeah,
of, like
so
pictures of people like,
Exactly.
that guy's got a cell phone, it's 1912, why? Like, that kind of shit, or like someone's
Nobody
wearing
knows how to
really-
use Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
that is number 4. They are here, and we just don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be hidden among us. Like,
Or
how do you know I'm
the
not
primer,
from the future?
the primer thing, where you can only go as far back as when the machine starts working. So the machine just
Oh,
sets
that's the
on
point.
now,
That'd be
and
interesting.
you can
So it's a
only go
reset
back
point
to now.
more than anything. It's
Yes.
like Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
And the final
Go
option,
back to Japanese RPGs.
final option. Why are there no time travelers here? We're not interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
They don't want to visit us
Oh,
in
Well,
20.
and also,
we can go back in
maybe-
time without it being about us.
And also, if you think that you're important enough that a time traveler's gonna show up and deal with you,
I mean, maybe it does suggest that we're in the darkest timeline.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna show up.
We
They're
don't
like,
need to go.
wait
Also-
till 3000. Shit started to get real cool. Then go take a vacation. Then don't go back to the 2000. It sucks.
if they're going back, they might be doing their job that we haven't seen them. They're doing it well. Also, maybe, darkest timeline, this has just been a never-ending series of people going back and fucking up, and then they fix one thing.
Yeah.
Like, where'd the murder hornets go? The murder hornets disappeared because someone fixed that one, but then it just atrocity
Yeah,
after
yeah.
atrocity. When I asked the question of what would you do, self-centered stuff or greater world problems, did you have a...
It would be something in between. It wouldn't be greater world problems because that would still allude to like a sense of God, like power and godhood that I'm like, I know what the world needs. But I wouldn't necessarily go back and fix my shit because all of the things I've done right or wrong through my perspective inform who I am now, and I think I'm the best version of the person I could possibly be.
Oh.
Outside of like, I don't
Disagree,
know,
but okay.
maybe like answering like more emails and going for a run every once in a while.
Yep.
Right? I could do those
But
things.
time travel is not what you need.
Exactly. I could
It's
take
called
those.
motivation.
Without spending like time travel money, right? Like, that's a problem. But like, I know that there are things that I could do or could have done for other people around me.
Oh.
And I would keep it small.
Oh,
I
so
think
wait.
there's a lot of consequence that you'd be concerned about. If you're the time traveler and you're trying to go back to fix things within your family's life, like what if you have like a butterfly effect thing where one small
Yeah.
thing affects and then suddenly you got no arms,
where I would
or
end up.
your friend's a prostitute.
Oh, jeez. I feel like I would.
Both of those things happen in that
with
film,
that.
which is hilarious.
I would.
Ashton Kutcher.
My friend's a prostitute.
I think I would be that person who would try really hard to fix everything for everyone from the history of forever. But I would end up, I'm gonna Futurama it again, and be, you know, when Bender tries to get involved with the like things, the like civilizations living on his back, but he just ends up killing everyone. And then God's like, yeah, it's hard. Right? He's like, I tried, oh, but everyone died. I feel like that would be me. I'd be like, I'm gonna fix all the problems, and then in the end I'll be like, well, everyone died, and you know, I don't know how to fix it now.
I think either way, if you go back trying to change anything, then you run into the chance of making things worse or having to endlessly go back and change. You're just tweaking. You're constantly
Until at
having
the
to
end,
And
the
then
last
you're
thing
just,
I'll
like,
do is go back
running
and
into
tell
your previous
myself,
self.
don't go back anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Oh, yeah.
don't even start.
Yeah.
And that's why it never happened, because everyone keeps going back and fucking everything up, and then eventually the time travelers go back and be like, just no.
So there was an Amazon show that didn't get enough shine. It went for 2, maybe 3 seasons called Future Man.
Maybe it died because of the title.
No, it's supposed to be that dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was fun though. It was fun dumb.
Seth and Evan, one of the dudes from Hunger Games, and a bit of the cast from like funny shit you've seen. It's just a kid. Like the premise for season 1 is it's the last Starfighter.
Oh.
Is a kid who is good enough at video games, like beats this unbeatable video game that's so bad that no one plays it, and then 2 people come from back in time and they're like, oh, you beat the game, you need to come into the future to help fix the past and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay. I've never
funny
seen
as
2 hands, and also I've never had a cameraman tell me to address.
We gotta rewind. Alain, I don't remember what the heck you were talking about like 2 minutes ago, but apparently you need to say all of it again, but differently.
Something with some.
Right. Okay. So like, I don't think I would go back in time to improve other people's lives. I would improve my own because I'm not happy with who I am as a person. So I eat a lot of pasta. I can eat more pasta. Like, I can go back in time and be like, eat more pasta. So I would definitely do that.
I mean, I'm here to help you with that now.
Holler at your boy. I need more pasta.
Okay.
And like, it doesn't need to be like that, like hippie pasta. It don't need to be like rice pasta, like lentil pasta. Give me that like wheat.
Yeah.
That's like potato
All
gnocchi.
wheat, no meat.
Wheat
Yeah,
plus.
yeah. And like I don't run a lot now. I could run less. I could learn how to drive a car.
You could take
and
the
never
elevator
use my legs again.
Instead of the stairs.
We have a freight elevator that technically people aren't supposed to ride in, but
Holler.
for you,
Holler at
I
your
will let
boy.
you go in there. If you get stuck, you cannot sue me though.
If I can go back in time and make myself technically not a person, I'll ride that elevator to the ends of the earth. There's a dark way to get there. I'm not gonna do it.
I bet that elevator's haunted.
Oh, it's definitely haunted.
Thank you guys for being here. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for being here. And tune in next week, Tuesday, for the return of One Shot or Not. We had Altera Shadows of Blood last Tuesday. Next Tuesday is a Dune One Shot or Not with a brand new TTRPG that's happening. And other than that, I should have checked. I'm sorry. I don't know what else is being released next week. But tune in next Thursday as well for the next episode of A Filthy Talk. And until then, stay filthy.